Hello and welcome to another episode of podcast. And today we have a very special guest. Her name is Deborah Baker. Hi, Deb.
Hiya, thanks for having me on.
How did you get started in bodybuilding?
So I've been bodybuilding for 9 years now. Started in 2014, and it literally just went from me going to the gym with my partner at the time. I used to do lots of running. I wouldn't go near weights, and he kind of introduced me into the gym, and then it just kind of went from there, really. So we just, kept sort of improving on the weights. I didn't want to get too big at the time, is what women normally say. And I just basically fell in love with it and just went from there, really. So I've done that right the way through to currently at the minute.
What's your training routine right now?
My what? Sorry.
What's your training routine right now?
My training routine. So I sort of hit the gym between 5 or 6 times a week, and at the minute, one of my routines and my rotation is basically revolving around bringing my lower up, because my upper is quite big. It overshadows a lot of my lower, so it's about bringing up my lower. So I hit my legs 3 times a week at the moment. 2 of those days are actual full leg days, and I do a bit more hamstrings on the day of like a back day or shoulders, and then I hit shoulders, back, and chest once a week.
Okay. What part of your body do you like to train the most?
I like everything, but I would say particularly I have good connection with my shoulders and my back.
Okay. What advice do you have to avoid injuries in the training?
So I would say exercise selection. So find exercises that suit your mechanics. Just because one person's doing a certain exercise doesn't mean that you should do it. So find an exercise that works for you. Don't ego lift. If you've not got good technique, good form, don't increase the load. Make sure that you can cope with that load. In a good sense, a good fashion. So you've got good form, good technique. Again, if you feel that a certain variation of that doesn't work for you, adapt it and try and find what best connects with you. And if you feel like that exercise is giving you more issues than benefit, then swap it out for something else.
Have you ever had any injuries or no?
I have, yeah. So I've had recently I had a shoulder injury, which is more, it's just something that it's just over time. On my right hand side, I've just actually fixed it. It literally wasn't an injury as such. It was just very difficult to do overhead pressing. So I had to take overhead pressing out for a while. So that's really the only injury I've had. I hurt my back once, but again, that was more of just like a little bit of a niggle, so to speak. It wasn't a massive injury. So touch wood, I've not had any serious injuries so far.
How do you manage your diet to support your training?
So because I'm a competitive bodybuilder, so I have to make sure that all of my food and my nutrition facilitates growth. So I want to, add more muscle. So I need to make sure in my off season, so currently, that my nutritional sort of values match my output basically as well. So I eat foods that I know I digest well, don't cause me inflammation, don't cause me any sort of issues, and try and make sure that my calories, like I said, match what I'm trying to do. So I don't overeat, so I get too high in body fat. If I do start to get too high in body fat, then I go and I basically tidy things up. So I've gone like a mini cut. Make sure that protein intake's in a good position as well, because a lot of people undereat on that. And just make sure that meal timing as well is on point. So every couple of hours I'll be eating. I make sure I eat before I train, after I train, so I can really optimize how much I'm basically taking in there.
Okay. What's your opinion about supplements?
What do you define supplements for me? What do you mean by supplements?
Whey protein.
Oh yeah, they have their place. I use whey protein. I use creatine. I use like vitamins and stuff like that. So when we are pushing our bodies to extremes, we need to make sure that, again, we facilitate that as best as we can. So yeah, they have their place. I wouldn't say be wholly reliant on them. I would say that get as much wholesome food in as you can. For people that are meat eaters, try and use the meat. For people that are vegetarians, vegans, try and source your protein from different meals. But having that supplementation there is exactly what it is. It's a supplementation. It's not just have whey protein and that's it. Same with creatine. It works. It's a very well researched supplement. It has its place. And some people get along with it, some people don't. There's different variations of it as well. So it's all depending on where you are. If you're a beginner, then you don't really need to focus on that stuff yet. You need to just nail your diet, nail your training, your recovery, and then once you're trying to sort of improve by the small percentage, then you can start to use supplementation to help with that.
Okay. What category do you compete in?
So I am women's physique, but I'm also going to try figure. So I've competed in figure previously, right up until 2020. And then I actually transitioned in 2020 to women's physique. And I competed in women's physique last year as well. So I'm champion in women's physique, but I'm going to try figure as well next year when I step back on stage. So I'm in between. I'm in between those two.
Okay. How are your main demands your category?
What was that?
The most important in your category, in your physique?
Oh, what do they look for in the category?
Yes, yes,
The criteria. Is that what you mean, the criteria? So for women's physique, it's more, you're looking at a higher level of muscularity. So they want, big cap delts, they want big arms, they want, smaller waists if you can. So it's all about X frame. They want big legs. They want, they want separation in all the muscle. They want to have a lower level of body fat. They want sort of striations, vascularity. So in women's physique, they're looking for that. Because I'm in between. So that's what I've recently competed in. That's what I've gone for. More when you're in figure, they don't want as a harsher look. They don't want the hardness there. They want it to be a little bit softer, but they still want some level and degree of separation in the muscle. They want you to have a good, lower body fat percentage, but not as harsh as women's physique, basically.
Okay. How important is the mindset in bodybuilding?
Mindset's literally like 95% of the battle. If you've not got the right mindset for it, you won't go very far. I would definitely say that obviously recently bodybuilding's become more prominent across the globe, particularly obviously for females as well. But for those that have been doing it for a long time, it's one of those things that you have to have a passion for it, and you have to have dedication and a certain mindset. If you don't, then you're not, like I said, you're not going to go very far. I mean, especially when you're in prep and you're towards the back end of a prep and you're pushing, you're in single digit body fat numbers, you're chasing those top places, you're trying to gun for your pro card. Your mindset's everything. Like if you've got a victim mentality, or you moan about it, or you're not going to get very far. I always say it's a privilege to do a prep, because it's all our choice. So if you, like I said, you have to have that, that mentality of I'm doing this for me, like I enjoy doing it. If you think more so like, oh, feel sorry for yourself, and you're not going to get very far really. So yeah, like I said, 95% of it's going to be mindset. You have to have a rock solid mind that it's impossible for someone to get to you. So in prep, for example, I turn off. I don't listen to anyone else apart from my coach at the time, and I just do as I'm told, and I completely immerse myself into it. So I don't go out on social events. I don't really listen to anyone else or anyone else's opinions. I literally just do it because it makes me happy. I wouldn't be doing it for 9 years if not. So that's what I would say to people. If it's really what you want to do, like, go for it. Don't listen to anyone else, and just make sure that you make your mind basically bulletproof, so no one can sort of penetrate it.
Okay. How do you keep yourself focused in your bodybuilding routine?
Again, I would say largely it's down to mindset and dedication. So most of my life is surrounded by bodybuilding. So like from the moment I get up, from the moment I go to sleep, it's about bodybuilding. I help clients as well. So like my job is to coach other people. it's one of those things that, you know, I want to do it. That's why. And I always think, you know, if I ever have a day, there's days, obviously, we all have, you know, like, why am I doing this? And that's just normal human behavior. If you have doubt, I just kind of go back and think, you know, this is why I'm doing it, because I enjoy it. And if I wasn't doing bodybuilding and I wasn't training and doing all this stuff, then I don't know actually what I'd be doing with my time, because it's like I said, it's my whole life. So for me, I kind of just pull things back in and realize that's why I'm doing it, really.
Okay. How do you balance your bodybuilding routine in the work and family?
See, that's difficult. That's quite difficult, because it it can vary, really. Like my actual family, so like I would say like my mum and my siblings, like they're very supportive. In terms of anything outside of that, it's, you can't really balance. Like, I try my best to give people close to me as much time as they need, especially in off season. I try and make more of an effort, because when we're in prep, you know, we're in prep sometimes for 6 months, 7 months of the year, maybe longer. So that's a lot of time that we take to ourselves. So I try to delegate and give more back in my off season. Prep, it's very difficult. Like, towards the start of prep, it's fine, but when we start to get towards the back end, it's very, very difficult. So, like I said, I make time and try and, like I said, give time to my family and my friends in my off season. So then when prep does come around, that there's no balance in prep. Like, that's, I'll be honest, there's no balance in prep. And for most bodybuilders, that is the case. Like, some people do very well to look after their family and stuff in prep. Like, I do that, but I won't go out to social events. I just won't do stuff like that, because it's difficult for me to do. But that's my personal take on it. Some people do super well with that kind of thing.
Which athlete your biggest bodybuilding inspiration?
What was that? Sorry, my biggest bodybuilding inspiration.
Yes.
There's loads, really. Like, I didn't really have, when I started bodybuilding, I didn't have like, I didn't look at female bodybuilders at the time and think I want to look like her. I just kind of did it. And then when I got more into bodybuilding, then I would look at certain athletes. So I really like the 80s style bodybuilders, like Corey Everson. I love that look, and that's something that I'll always stand by. I think Dana Lynn Bailey's like a nice prominent one that stands out as well. But I love the old school bodybuilding styles. Like, I'm still very much a huge fan of that, and that's what I try to get my physique. I would say that's what I base my physique on. Even though like they're pushing for more size and stuff now, that's kind of the way I like women's bodybuilding to look like. So yeah, I would say those two.
Okay. And what was your most exciting moment in bodybuilding?
So I've got a few. I mean, I would definitely say my first win, like getting my first win, was a big thing for me. I would say probably last year as well, I had a very good season. So I won 2 overalls. I narrowly missed out my pro card twice. But I would say those, and just, you know, getting to travel to, you know, do different things. Like, I get a lot of work as well, like modeling work from bodybuilding. So it's kind of like a perk of it as well. You get to do so much, you get to explore, you get to meet new people. So there's lots of good experiences that come with it as well. And, you know, it's very rare to also meet larger females as well. So when I meet other female bodybuilders, that's a nice experience as well.
Okay. What was your biggest challenge in bodybuilding, and how did you overcome it?
Biggest challenge, I would probably say, is, I would say prep. Like, when you first ever do a prep, and overcoming that is just, like I said before, is just kind of, you know, coming back to why am I doing this, and realizing, you know, like, even though you're hungry, you're tired, you've got to persevere and you've got to push through. And I think that once you've accomplished that, it kind of makes you, it completely change your perspective on things. So I think that for me was a big turning point in my life and in my career as a bodybuilder, because it helps. It kind of bleeds into a lot of your other parts of your life as well. It shows you how much more you're actually capable of. So that, I would say that for me, really.
How are you defining success in bodybuilding?
Success in bodybuilding. So I would say, accomplishing your best package, constantly improving on your package, making sure you stay true to the sport, from your values and your perspective. And, obviously getting top placings, for me, like I want to win my category every time. I want to get my pro card. I want to compete as a pro. So for me, that's success as a bodybuilder. And I would say also inspiring others, especially females, to take stand and, realize that it's okay to have muscle as a female, because even though we're in 2023, it's still not accepted. We still get looked at very strangely. So I think helping other women step into the bodybuilding world and educating them on it, I think that's a success in itself as well. So you're actually able to help other women.
Bodybuilding is growing a lot here in Brazil. How do you think about the Brazilian athletes?
I think they're phenomenal, especially the wellness ones. They're insane. They've got very good genetics. They dominate most of them, don't they? So
Wellness creates here in Brazil.
yeah.
Do you compete in Brazil?
No, I've never competed in Brazil. I will if the opportunity comes up. I would definitely compete in Brazil, though.
Have you visited Brazil? No.
Nope.
What do you expect the future of the bodybuilding? More strength or more softer physiques?
What do I think, or what do I think they're going to do?
Yes.
What do I think they're going to do? I mean, in terms of my category, are you asking about my categories or just in general?
In your category.
I think they're gonna keep pushing. I think they're gonna keep pushing. They're gonna keep pushing for more conditioning, more muscularity, and that's why I'm going to try figure, because if it gets to a point where it gets too much, as females, we can only do so much. Like, that's a big thing for me, is femininity. So if they push it too far, then, I'll be like, right, no, I can't do that. And it's important as well to have a line, like where you're going to go. Because, like I said, they can keep asking, but we still have a choice what we want to do. So I would like to think that, maybe they'll hold it where it is, or, maybe they'll create a different category, or maybe they'll go back to old school bodybuilding looks. I'm not sure. But I personally think they'll keep pushing, because everything's getting more and more extreme, isn't it?
And what's changed since you started competing until now?
What was that? Sorry?
What was changed since you started competing until now?
Oh, what's changed? As in,
yeah.
What? As in the bodybuilding industry?
Yes.
Okay, so again, so if you use Dana Lynn Bailey as an example, for example, she was, I think she'd not long won the Olympia. I think it was a couple of years before I started. But if you look, she was women's physique. And if Dana Lynn Bailey now went in, even at the size she was, to compete against women's physique, she would not stand a chance. So I think that in itself highlights the difference from, when I started to where it is now. Like I said, there's a push, there's a big push, but there's been more categories as well. So you've got, wellness has opened up, you've got classic physique for men. So there's more categories. So, whether they keep adding categories, like I said, or, they just push for a harder look, or it's difficult to say, really.
What's your advice for women who wants to get started in bodybuilding?
So I think when I started, I didn't look at any competitive, but like I said, I didn't look at any competitive bodybuilders and think I want to look like her. I want to compete in, this category. I went to the gym and just started and just wanted to build a bit of muscle, to see where it took me. So I didn't put too much pressure on myself. So I went to the gym, I trained, every body part in the week, and I kind of just evaluated it as I went through and see how I went. I didn't put pressure on myself. So I'd say don't put too much pressure on yourself. If there's a certain body part you want to bring up more than another one, focus on that. but make sure you're still hitting everything, because sometimes women in particular, and it's not me stereotyping, can be focused too much on lower, or they can just focus on something too much and then they look out of proportion. And do it for yourself. Don't do it for, I think it's cool because it's on Instagram. I think this person's doing it, so I should do it. Just dip your toe in the water, get used to what it is, see if you like it, because it might not be for you. And then if you do really like it, then start looking like, making sure that you're on point with your nutrition, make sure that you're getting a good amount of sleep, execute your exercises properly, make sure you're just ticking things properly. And then, like I said, if you really do enjoy it, then you can start looking into, maybe I'd like to compete. Then go and watch some shows, go and watch some amateur shows, and then see which category you best like. And then see also if your structure matches up to that category, if that's what you'd want to do, and then research into it.
Okay. Finally, leave a message for our bodybuilding fans.
Sorry, you want me to leave a message?
Yes.
About what? Just in general?
For the bodybuilding fans.
So I would just say, like with bodybuilding, just keep doing what you're doing, keep eating, keep training hard. And don't become complacent with stuff. Lots of people are in such a massive rush. Don't be in a rush. Just keep doing what you're doing, be consistent, and you'll see results.
Okay, thank you so much.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for the interview. It's a great honor to interview. I'm very fan of your work.
Oh, thank you
so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and see you in your next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.